It would have been super cool for them to give Rakarth a Feral Stonehorn, but he did get some new monster-type units. I think he got Feral Bears. Maybe there was one other that I'm forgetting, but anyway, today he is going to be facing off against my Ogres. This is Heir of Carthage's Dark Elves, of course. Rakarth leading the way. He's got a Charybdis here. Great. I mean, not great, but it is an anti-large AP fish monster with poison. I've got some Dread Spears up front, of course, for this matchup. A couple of Witch Elves protecting, some Reaper Bolt Throwers, and then over on the side, some Cold One Knights, along with Repeater Crossbows. For myself, I've got a Slaughtermaster of Beasts. We're looking for a Manticore summon this time. A Hunter, got a couple of Saber Tusk packs, the Iron Blaster, Powder Guts Man-Eaters, 1 Man-Eater Iron Fist, 2 Trappers, and 4 regular Noblars up front. So let's get in Cinematic Cam. Watch the Stonehorn approach cautiously through the woods here. Missile resistance, the trees will help break up a little bit of the damage of these Repeater Crossbows. But Heir is going to mismicro them ever so slightly and get them caught here by the Saber Tusks, which is a great early get by me. Try and shut them down, but over on the low ground, some more Cold One Knights managed to actually catch my Saber Tusks, and I wasn't sure how this engagement was going to go. Eventually, they are just going to path back in and all start fighting, but actually goes surprisingly well for the Saber Tusks. We'll check back in just a minute there. Similar over here, though, although I really like where Cold One Knights are at, they are much better now than they used to be. They still just trade pretty inefficiently when significantly outnumbered like this. And it's a pretty rough situation for them to be in. That being said, I thought this was a Hydra. I didn't realize at first that it was a Charybdis, so the Hunter moving into combat against it, it's actually going to go very poorly for the Hunter. Not to mention Rakarth also charging in with his anti-large, armor-piercing Manticore. Very scary stuff that also gets Murderous Prowess. Are you kidding me? That all new? I'd have to check. I don't remember that, actually, him getting Murderous Prowess on the Manticore. I know, like, the Casters and Hellebron did, but anyway. I'm going to summon up the Manticore there. Speaking of which, Beasts for the Beast Master, the High Beast Master. Likewise, the Powder Guts, trying to get in a position around these trees where I can actually shoot into this single entity fight. Nice Spirit Leech on the Hunter as well. Yes, I said the Beast for the Beast Master, and what I actually meant was summon a Beast to go snipe the Dark Elf caster. So we're going to do just that. Noblars, of course, are fighting in the front line, but nobody cares about them. So I'm just going to promptly ignore them. Also, my 2 enraged Saber Tusks down on the low ground. You can see completely overkilling that Cold One Knight. They won, but they took quite a bit of time to do it and are out of control, so that's not great. But Man-Eaters charging in. They haven't done much damage. Unfortunately, they've been getting pinged by the Bolt Throwers the whole time, but someone that will do quite a bit of damage here is the Slaughtermaster. We're going to pop Wissen's Wild Form up to 500 weapon strength. Doesn't have the best combat stats in the world, but neither does Rakarth, all things considered. And we're going to charge in here with the Man-Eaters. The Powder Guts, of course, nice hybrid melee missile unit. They can definitely get in there and get some work done with their armor-piercing melee power. The Sorceress also manages to get away from the Manticore as it comes through to charge Rakarth in the back. Probably should have stayed the course on the Sorceress, all things considered, but just getting a little bit greedy here, trying to finish off Rakarth. The summon timer, unfortunately, goes down. And the Slaughtermaster, Doom and Darkness, and the Terror of the Manticore pushing him away, which is definitely not great. I've got my Saber Tusks up and around. They charged into some Witch Elves, which means, I mean, they were enraged from their own enrage, and then they're going to almost instantly enrage from the Witch Elves' enrage, so I can't get them onto the Bolt Throwers. Very frustrating, all things considered. Iron Blaster is still firing, but it really hasn't made that much of a difference. Hasn't really been shooting too many high-value targets. That being said, the Hunter is going to come back from route, and his anti-large jab shooting into the back of the Charybdis here should be able to help finish it off. Perhaps the Iron Blaster will dump a shot over here as well after it finishes trying to side shot those Dread Spears. But the Bolt Throwers switching targets once again onto the Iron Blaster. Definitely the good call at this point. It's one of the few units that could bring me back into this game, because Spirit Leech on those Powder Guts, they're slowly getting dragged down by Spears and Witch Elves. My Slaughtermaster briefly comes back. I'm going to try and keep him alive long enough to summon the second Manticore. But at the very least, you've been able to finish off the Charybdis. Stonehorn's anti-large jabs doing a great job there, just kind of blinking away. Iron Blaster getting back online. Again, we're going to try and side shot some of these infantry units. A decent hit there on those Dread Spears, but unfortunately the Bolt Thrower is still online, and my sort of light War Beast harass, or light cavalry harass, if you will, has not been effective enough to get the job done. Some Cold One Knights come back, Anti-large damage is just enough to see off the Slaughtermaster for one more. The Powder Guts are going to charge through, try and finish off the Dark Riders. A little bit of Dismember here to slow down all of the units in this area. Try and debuff Rakarth is such that he will also not catch the Man-Eaters. The Powder Guts are just going to keep running. Perhaps we'll get the Slaughtermaster back. Perhaps we'll get some of these Saber Tusks back. Perhaps the Iron Blaster and the Hunter with Stonehorn will be able to carry, but I make a little bit of a mistake moving the Iron Blaster way too far back. If he was within range to maybe try and finish Rakarth here, or else just the Dread Spears even, it's there's a lot left, a lot of ammo on those bolt throwers, which makes me very uncomfortable. The Man-Eaters fire while moving, so eventually they do finish off the Cold One Knights just fully, kill all of them, the ones that were chasing the Slaughtermaster, so we should be able to get him back into range and summon another Manticore here. Saber Tusks trying to come through. Doom and Darkness on them. They don't have a lot of leadership anyway, so they get broken up pretty easily. And the Iron Blaster eventually will come back to fight, but for the time being, got the other Manticore summoned up. The Saber Tusk come back from route. Saber Tusk pack, rather, come back from route. They're going to try and finish off these Witch Elves. Get a little bit more Winds of Magic here from the extra ingredients as well. And we've got the Wild Heart also active, so just get that really nice power regeneration. See if we can't cast a couple more spells. The Manticore Power Spike also puts me reasonably back up in terms of the balance of power. I definitely feel like if I was utilizing my Iron Blaster well at this point, if we could finish Rakarth, maybe I can get enough leadership damage to start to finish some units off here. Manticore is going to charge into the Witch Elves, which I see kind of is one of the most threatening units left. But the Bolt Throwers, man, and Spirit Leech just finish the Powder Guts to an Ogre. Like, literally every single one of them dies, which is great. And then the Manticore is now going to be subject to Bolt Thrower fire. Definitely does not like that. And the Iron Blaster is in all this in the meanwhile, just drawing circles, literally, around Rakarth. The spread shot, I'm far enough away that the spread shot's having a hard time making any contact with Rakarth. You can see there, like, ooh, nice little spread shot just all around him. I really should drive up and get closer, and I'm going to try and do that. Rakarth, of course, with his Manticore speed, can just maneuver away. But at this point, it's pretty hopeless for me. I'm going to just try and keep hitting him with the Iron Blaster, and the Iron Blaster will keep drawing a circle around him, and then there you go. Victory for Rakarth. So a fun one, a great game to air there, and it is definitely evident in this matchup that I need bulls. Unfortunately, the Ogre bulls are bugged visually in our builds, so I can't show them to you, but it is definitely a matchup where, like, you just cut these Man-Eaters with Iron Fists, take two dual weapon Ogre bulls instead. Maybe you also fine-tune some of this other cost here. Maybe you cut Nobblar Trappers and just go with, again, more bulls. Hard to say, but considering how cost-effectively the Saber Tusk packs were able to trade, I would think that bulls would also similarly trade very well. That high non-armor piercing DPS is just very good against the low HP of Dark Elves. So I can see that the bulls will be very necessary here. Unfortunately, I couldn't use them. Nobblars, though, I mean, generally very cost-effective. Can't really argue too much with the Trappers in terms of getting their value back, and even the regular Nobblars. Me misusing the Iron Blaster is also one of the reasons I lost. I mean, credit to Heir of Carthage just constantly pressuring with his Bolt Throwers, both of which paid for themselves. And then obviously some Miss Micro in the single entity fight, but kind of to be expected. The Charybdis surprising me. Thought it was a Hydra. Definitely made that mistake too many times, but it's quite strong. Rakarth also, I don't know how much he costs on his Manticore. We'd have to check that, but probably does a reasonably decent job of paying for himself. Witch Elves also, not a unit I would expect to take in this matchup, but actually did surprisingly great job of locking units down, not allowing them to get at those Bolt Throwers. So tactically was quite nice, and then actually one of them does get really good value too, which is always fantastic. So very well played to air. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.